This video could be boring unless you're interested in putting together a combination VHF marine band radio and AIS transceiver system. But if you're going to install an AIS system on your boat, then this video could be pretty interesting. I would say there are four main parts to this system: an AIS transceiver, your VHF marine band radio, an antenna, an NMEA backbone, and coax to hook them all together. You, of course, need the AIS transceiver, which is what you're seeing now, an M-Track B954. You need the VHF marine band radio, which is this thing. This is part of the NMEA backbone. You need a good antenna in a good location, which I will talk about in a minute. And finally, you need the coax cable to connect them all together. To explain all the parts of the system, I'm going to work backwards, starting from the antenna, then the AIS transceiver, the NMEA backbone, and then the VHF radio. First, let's go look at the antenna.
I'm in the bosun's chair and climbing the mast steps. So, I'm doubled in. I'm talking to myself. Oh, God. So I'm at the top of the mast. My antenna, or the coax leading up to my antenna, one or the other, doesn't seem to be working real well. Here's my antenna. I guess that's a valid antenna. I don't know. I'll have to go back and see what they're supposed to look like, so I'll know whether this is good and I should replace it.
This is the old antenna and old coax cable running to it. It has seen better days. It is bent, beat up, and the connection from the coax to the antenna seems pretty suspect to me. This is the new antenna with new coax run to it.
Okay, at the top of the mast. You can see how we ran the coax up last time into the brand new, it's a combination VHF and AIS antenna that we got up there. Seems to work really well. And so, you know, probably all you sailboat guys know all this stuff, but when you want to figure out how to run this coax down through the mast, it might seem logical, yeah, drill a hole right in the middle, drop all the way down through. Well, don't drill a hole in the middle there, because there's all this pulley sheave stuff that sits right there. So if you're drilling a hole in the middle, you're going to run into that stuff. So I had to caulk up the hole once I figured that out. And that was why I ran it in through the side here. But we got nice coax run all the way down through the mast. Drilled a hole here, tied a big nut to it, and dropped it with a feeder line all the way down to the bottom there. And then pulled the coax through.
There is a lot that goes into selecting the right antenna when you're going to have both AIS and a VHF radio on your system. They both use close to the same frequencies, so pick an antenna that is tuned for the middle frequency between them, which is 159 megahertz. You need to mount the antenna as high as possible and as far as practical from any other metal structures. On a sailboat, sharing a single antenna on top of the mast will usually work better than a single dedicated AIS antenna installed lower, like a stern rail. If you can, get a VSWR meter, VSWR meter. This stands for Voltage Standing Wave Ratio, and it can be used to tell how well your system is working. We replaced both the VHF radio and the antenna, and the VSWR meter still showed our system as faulty. When we ran new coax, as you can see here, the system showed as excellent. This could have been from either the coax or the connectors on either end, but when both of these were replaced, the system was good. This is the AIS unit we picked. I wanted one that both receives and transmits. The transmit capability is more expensive, but probably worth it in the long run, especially for foggy ports so large ocean-going ships can see me. I picked the M-Track B954. That's EM-TRAK, B as in boy, 954. It has an internal antenna splitter, so I can only use one antenna. Two antennas, unless they're spaced far enough apart, will limit transmission usually. This unit will integrate nicely with the NMEA NEMA 2000 network to display on my Garmin chart plotter. It is both wireless and Bluetooth capability that I'm not sure if I will use, but it might come in handy in case I can't see my chart plotter. It does not have an included VHF marine band radio, which some of them do, but I think this is good because I don't want to put all my eggs into one basket. Now, when you get an AIS, you also need to get an MMSI, Maritime Mobile Service Identify number. MMSI is a 9-digit number assigned to a marine radio, and it identifies your registration information to the U.S. Coast Guard for use in emergency situations. If you're pleasure sailing sailboat making international voyages, then obtaining an MMSI number will involve applying for an FCC ship station license. The FCC will issue an MMSI number with a ship station license. But first, if you want to do business with the FCC, you'll have to get an FCC registration number, FRN. This is required to do business with the FCC and is needed to get an MMSI. So the sequential order of things is first get an FCC registration number, the FRN, then get your MMSI number, then buy your AIS, and the company you buy the AIS from will ask for this MMSI number, and they will code it into the AIS unit. When you buy your AIS unit, this MMSI number will already be associated with it. Nice AIS system. It's in line with the VHF radio, so this right here goes out to the antenna. This right here comes in for our VHF radio, and this just goes into the NEMA supplies, and I think that goes into the NEMA supplies also. No, this is I think our power right here. And okay, so there's our AIS system with all the lights displayed working properly, and I put a switch in here that I'm going to toggle now, and if I toggle that on, okay, right, if I toggle that on, see the blue light come on the AIS. That means we are not transmitting AIS, and that could be useful, you know, if we're in some waters that have a lot of pirates. Well, pirates watch for AIS signals being transmitted by boats, and we might be a target. So maybe in some places we'd actually turn off our AIS transmit. Gonna turn it back on now. There we go. This little block of connectors that you see here is part of our NMEA NEMA backplane. An NMEA system on a boat is a standardized plug-and-play digital networking protocol that allows marine electronics from different manufacturers to talk to each other and share data over a single shared cable backbone. Think of it as the boat's internal nervous system, connecting instruments like GPS, depth sounders, VHF radios, autopilot to a central network, and now I need to connect my AIS system into this network. This is the old previous second block of my NEMA system. It only had 3 connections. One coming in from the first block of 5, a connection to my chart plotter, and a termination connection. I replaced the old second block of my NEMA connection with this new second block, which has more connections. Now I have room to plug my AIS into the system. What you see right here is connection coming in from the previous block, a connection going to the chart plotter, a termination connection, and I have two spares. I'll plug my AIS into one of them, and then I'll have a spare left over for something else in the future. This is the last piece of our system, our VHF marine band radio. We bought the Cobra MR-F77B. It has some neat features. It has scan capability, which most of them do. You can select 3 channels for it to monitor simultaneously. It's submersible, it's got a strength meter, it's got built-in GPS, and one other thing that's kind of neat, it has the capability to do a 20-second replay of the last transmission received. I think this might be kind of useful because often I have trouble understanding what was just said, bad reception, static, whatever. Anyway, time will tell if this is a useful feature or not. So that's it. That's our whole system. And I hope you enjoyed our AIS, VHF, antenna, NMEA system that we put together.